Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we review Hobgoblins 2. Don't say we didn't warn ya.
Written and directed by Rick Sloane, starring Jordana Berliner, Josh Mills, and Chanel Ryan. Hobgoblins 2 is almost a direct sequel to Hobgoblins from 1988, where McCreedy, who fought the Hobgoblins in the first one, is now locked up in a mental institution. The Hobgoblins have come back and they're striking fear in anyone who has a fear. And in this case, it's 5 new 20-somethings. And to help us with our review is somebody who reviewed the very first movie with us on his channel. It's Mark from The Final Cut.
Hey everyone, I am Mark, the movie man from The Final Cut. Thank you so much, Bloodbath and Beyond, for having me on your channel and doing this collab review about Hobgoblins 2. Now, one of the things that I enjoyed about the first one was kind of the cheesiness of this cult classic, and in here, the film also brings the cheese. But more importantly, with the sequel, they made it feel like a direct sequel to that cult classic. From the quality of the film itself, to the wardrobe, to everything about it, really felt like it was that lost sequel, and you wouldn't have guessed that it was shot in 2009 if it wasn't for a couple of the elements like the cell phones that they have in here. But outside of that, really had that retro feel. So I do give props there to Rick Sloane for making this film feel like a direct sequel and like it was only shot a couple of years after the original rather than almost 10 years after the original.
I love that they brought back the exact same puppets. The Hobgoblins are the main focal point of this movie, or at least they should be.
There's no animatronics or anything, but they're fighting with them like, oh, these are some deadly creatures, just like in the first one. So captured that spirit there with the Hobgoblins themselves. There are a number of Scream references in here, so it gets a little bit of meta going on. All the main characters in here, and even a couple of the sub-characters, are named the exact same names as the first one.
It's cool when people can go back and be like, you know what, I'm just gonna choose the exact same characters' names. Like, have another Kyle, have another Daphne, why not? Even a Fantasia.
Yeah, Fantasia, Chanel Ryan, she did a pretty good job. I mean, she's posted up being a cam girl in tights and leopard print shirt and dropping jello all over her boobs. What else could you want?
And very amusing are the surrounding characters. They're more entertaining than actually the main characters that we have in this film. There's the guy that cuts off his own fingers. He comes up in a number of scenes in this film. Very hilarious. The candy stripers and nurses, those are hilarious as well. A lot of things happening in the background that I found actually more entertaining than the main characters and their performances.
Now, what didn't we like?
Now, this is a horror comedy leaning more on the comedy than the horror, but one of the things that make a B-movie classic is one of those elements in there: blood, body count, and yeah, gratuitous nudity, boobs, however you want to put it. In this one, this film had none of that. If you're gonna portray it as kind of a Grindhouse film, give me some of those Grindhouse elements.
We got this really hot nurse who's just showing off some serious assets, and we don't get to see them. And it's too much of a tease. It really is.
And I would have appreciated like any gore. If we had any blood, that would have been great. Because in the first one, we did have gore. Considering what was happening, I mean, there's a bunch of crazy demon fucking goblins coming after people. You don't really see them that often. And that's unfortunate, because as much as I love to see them, and I mean, it's called Hobgoblins because we want to see the goddamn Hobgoblins. Unfortunately, you don't see them that much. And any of the fights are just useless.
I'm okay with cheap puppet, like, shaking, but it's really bad when you're seeing, like, the characters on the couch and they deliberately turn around, grab the puppet, and place them on their chest. Like, it's not subtle by any means.
I did enjoy the fact that it was self-aware. What I didn't enjoy was the fact that it was too self-aware. And in the end, that took me out of it. It felt like it had a little less heart to it, and as if he was just trying to cash in on the cult craze of the first one.
We can understand that this is an homage and trying to be a 1980 sequel to the original Hobgoblins, but the acting is just bad. I think I would attribute some of that to the editing as well.
There was a scene between Kevin and McCreedy where they're just at the asylum in the courtyard, but it's the same two nurses walking back and forth and not even timed correctly. The spatial distance in this film was terrible.
Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings.
I enjoyed it for the surrounding cast and the fact that we're trying to go for a retro feel, but there were just a lot of things lacking in this film that made the original so appealing and so enjoyable. So I give it two attached fingers out of 5.
This film was definitely a sequel. Not a good sequel, it was a sequel. It had its cheesy moments and some interesting characters. But besides that, the plot was not good at all. And it was just making fun of itself too much that you couldn't even laugh at it, but you kind of feel bad for it. I honestly wouldn't recommend watching the second one. You're better off just sticking with Hobgoblins and just remembering the first one as a standalone film because you'll appreciate it more. So that being said, I'm gonna give this film 1 cheesy chainsaw one-liner out of 5.
Come and get it, you bastards!
Hobgoblins 2 is not a good movie, and I don't think you should watch it. The acting was very shitty and very reminiscent of the 80s. However, this was done in 2009, and they didn't do a good enough job replicating the 80s for you to think that they were doing a good job. The Hobgoblins were there. They looked the same, exactly the same. However, there was no blood, there was no nudity, there was nothing that we remotely liked from the original movie. Nothing was happening. We had the Hobgoblins for probably 2 minutes or 3 minutes of screen time total. Don't watch this movie. I'm gonna give this half a chainsaw chick out of 5.
Thank you again, Bloodbath and Beyond, for having me on this collab review. Folks, if you're interested at all, I have similar tastes to these guys in film. You can check out my channel, Special Mark Productions, here on YouTube, or go to specialmarkproductions.com where you can find all of the stuff that I do. Thank you again, gentlemen. It has been an honor.
Thanks for coming on, Mark. It was great having you. If anyone is interested in seeing our review of Hobgoblins, the first one, which was a little bit better than this, go over to Mark's channel. We have links in the description where you can check out our collab. And make sure you subscribe to The Final Cut. Mark knows his shit. He reviews a lot of indie horror movies as well. And, it's always great chatting with him. Thank you again, Mark. And thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe to us as well, if you haven't already, to stay up to date with everything Bloodbath and Beyond.